Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this special video showcase and unboxing we're going to be looking at the Japanese exclusive 1986 Goodbye Megatron multi-pack gift set. So what we're going to do with this video, we're going to unbox it live in a second, have a look at the entire contents, including the highly sought after poster that comes with this pack. We're going to do some comparisons with the figures in here and the standard Hasbro ones, because there's a few differences, and I suppose the main one, for those of you who are unaware, is that the Megatron inside isn't even chromed, he's a gunmetal grey. Right, let's start to have a look at this then. As I've already mentioned, it was 1986. It was an exclusive in Japan, and I suppose a little bit of history about the Japanese continuity of G1 figures, just while we look at Megatron here, is that they didn't recognise the movie. So the movie that happened all across the world, Transformers the movie in 1986, Japan didn't recognise it because at the time they were continuing with their own versions of events, and that's why they've got cartoons like Master Force, Victory and Zone, etc. I'll come back to that in a second, but I just want to highlight here that of course you can see that Megatron has got an inner blue leg, and in Japan when Megatron was released, he was released with this inner blue leg. And the ironic thing is that they messed up with the packaging here, shall we say, and kept it blue, because inside this gift set, if we carefully open up this side here now, this is the release of Megatron that actually has an inner red leg, which is of course the same as all of the Hasbro versions that have come out before this. And ironically enough, obviously on the packaging, on the only versions that had the red leg, they still put the blue colour on it. The other thing as well that you may be quite surprised to know as well is, as I open this up and hopefully everything doesn't fall out, you can see we've got this scope here. This is the first, again, release of Megatron in Japan to have this scope. All of the previous releases didn't have this, they just had this sword, and as you can see they still didn't have the rest of the attachments to build it up for the full gun. So this is the only time that you're going to see the scope with Megatron. The sword that is in here, and I will carefully take this out, this is what came with the standard figure, and as you can see the chrome on it is beautiful, and there's the hole where it would fit into his hand. Now I've got to confess in a second, and I'm going to apologize for it in advance, I will not be transforming him for obvious reasons, but hopefully you can see there, and especially if I bring it closer, that is plastic. It's not your lovely shiny chrome that you've got here on your standard Megatron. Even though there's a sticker, you can still see that it's a nice shiny chrome. And the other thing as well is, if we have a look at Starscream, you can see on the top there that it looks a little more of a matte colour rather than the nice shiny red that you would usually see on the back, or even, yeah, on the front of these. The other thing, what I'm going to show you quickly, is if I do take out the scope, and I mentioned that there's slightly different things again between Hasbro and Takara. You can see these bullets are red, and these would literally fire from Megatron. You can, again, I'm not going to be doing it, apologies, but you can see why, because they're still on the sprue, and I'm not going to take him out of there. They would, in fact, I'll take him out in a second. They would, of course, fire the bullets. What I am going to show you in a second, though, is just how powerful. They're still on a sprue, but I think I can take, unless it's sealed, yes, these are open, so what I can do is I can fire the missiles between them. Right, what I'm going to do then is I'm now going to very carefully see if I can remove that from the packaging and come back to you in a second. So I've very carefully managed to remove him from the packaging, and let's have a look. So you can probably make it again that this is all plastic. It is that gunmetal grey. I know it doesn't have stickers on it, but it's really noticeable when I get the standard or normal version Megatron, shall we say, and put him next to it. There is, you can see the shining all at the side, all down the top as well, you can see right there, and then of course on the other side. For those of you who are interested in the stamp, you can see here that again it's totally different to the normal Hasbro and Seijei versions. You can also just about make out there that the inside is red. Again, apologies, I'm not going to be transforming this guy for obvious reasons. What I will show you though quickly is, remember I mentioned that they fire bullets, so this is the standard, again, Seijei or Hasbro variant. There's pretty much nothing in there at all. There's a little click, whereas with this guy, because again he would fire them, there's There's a lot of torque in it. There's a lot of click. It feels really stiff to push back, and you can really hear that the spring would have some venom in there. I think no better way to prove this than would be to, in fact, I don't want to hit that box, so let me move it out of the way. So what I've got here is I've got my standard star screen, and I've got his, here we go. This is obviously his blaster. So this is the standard one. So this would be a Hasbro version, and it hardly does anything at all. And I've checked a few of them. It's not just, I haven't just found the weakest one, but that is his version. Whereas this, guys, this is the Takara one. Again, remember the different safety standards. In fact, can you hear this? You can hear how much torque there is inside that spring. And that's the difference between these. It's pretty much ridiculous. It's a bit like the European exclusives as well. You can hear that that came out as well, which didn't have the same safety standards as Hasbro and everything else. Right, let's have a look at some of the paperwork to start off with. Then I know people like to see this, so this is the bag that came pretty much with it. I've done more detailed videos on these, so I'm just going to quickly gloss over this. This is a Japanese start mail away form with all of these figures. For those of you who are unaware, these were available to mail order in Japan, didn't have standard releases. There's always a comments and feedback card that came with pretty much all of the Japanese figures. This would be Megatron's, because there's his stickers, and here is his instruction sheet. So his instruction sheet again is totally different to the ones that you're used to seeing. And if you're wondering, we've got a number 16 there. That's because if Megatron was packed individually, that would be his reference number. And you can see there he's got the scope, and there's the main sword that he would be carrying. I'll transform the Hasbro version I've got of Megatron and put the sword in his hand just so you can see if you like in a second. And then we've got one of these catalogs. Again, I've done a detailed video on these on the channel if you want to see it. Now, the main thing I suppose that people want to see, let's get the box back up. And before we get the poster out the back of it, well, again, just appreciate the artwork on the front. And I suppose if I show you the flap there, that just confirms what I was saying. That's not artwork, that's an actual stock image of the Megatron with the inside blue leg. The artwork on the back, with it being 1986, is of course the 86 Titans, which is of course Metroplex and Trypticon. But then this is probably just as sought after, to be honest, as the actual set itself. And because if I'm being honest, if I was a kid and I was brought this particular set and then maybe you sold it on in the future, this is something you would definitely keep, or it would unfortunately have got trashed because you'd have put it up on your wall. So what I'm going to do is nice and carefully slide this over. I'm going to put it in its own little video at the end as well as a separate one. So what you've got here are all of the Decepticons, or Destrons as they were known, released by Takara in Japan between 1984 and 1986. So you've got, of course, Bruticus, Menasor, the Insecticons, Rumble and Frenzy, Thundercracker, Skywarp. You can see the Devastators coming to the back, Megatron's in the middle, Soundwave, the Triple Changers, Blitzwing, Astro Train, Octane isn't there yet because of course he was later, Trypticon and Reflector. That is, excuse me, an absolutely stunning poster, and I'm going to put that up separately in a second in another video as well. But there you go, guys. I think that pretty much concludes showing you just, I suppose, how nice this particular gift set is. I hope you enjoyed looking at it. I hope you enjoyed looking at the differences between the two. And as I say, just stay tuned to the end of this now. I'll do another bit of the video and I'll put the sword in the standard Megatron's hand as well. Okay then, so there you go. This is how he would hold this enormous sword of his, because again, remember when he was first released, he didn't come with the scope. And what we've got here again is just from one of my reference books. There at the bottom is the original blue leg Megatron with his sword, and as it points out here, the red leg was just for the goodbye version. In fact, the box when he first came out was only that big, and that's all it had inside. There you go. Right, let's just have a quick look at this poster, and that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Like and comment, and don't forget to subscribe.